Good greetings everyone, this is Commander Rusty Dog and this is my exploration anaconda, and I've just had it repainted in the new golden texture. It doesn't look too shiny from in here, but that's because the lighting's pretty bad. They're using neon strips on the ceiling for some reason. You'd think by this time in the 34th century that they would have found something better. And we're going to be making a trip out. Of course I will edit the journey down so that you don't have to sit through it all. And so we're going to be visiting a nebula that is close by. It's just over 1,000 light years away, and I've never been there before, at least not that I can remember. So I thought I would take time and go over there and check it out. And we're going to be visiting the Dumbbell Nebula. So it's about 1,100 light years away, and I am in 2.3, which means I cannot plot the entire route. And I chose to come in here and do it in 2.3 strictly because the video then would not have a watermark on the lower left. So that's all. Now this anaconda has a name, as most of my ships do. This one is Annie, and there's a few reasons why, a couple of reasons why, and also a very coincidental one which I quite like, which means I'll probably be keeping this name. So my late sister was called Anne, A-N-N-E, and my late grandmother was called Annie. As you can see, it's spelt there. So I've kind of written it like that to kind of make a little memorial to both of them, or a tribute to both of them. But looking at it in a different way, the IE could stand for something else, in which case the ship would be called Anne, and IE would stand for Interstellar Explorer, which I think that's its role, it fits in rather nicely. So let's get into the cockpit. And I'm at Jameson Memorial, my home for well, quite a long time actually. Since the beginning days of Elite Dangerous, I made Shinrata Dezhra my home, and I think we should just get underway. So I'm going to launch the ship out, and I'll come back to you when I have arrived. So hopefully I can make a clean exit out of the mail slot. And you can see already, if you've already experienced 2.4 beta, the distinct lack of mist or smoke or whatever you want to call it in the mail slot. I mean, there is some there, but it is noticeably less than what you would get in 2.4 beta, and I like that they've added that. Right then, so currently we're heading off to sector NCV D259, and it'll take us 15 jumps to get there. I have a 62.3 light year jump range, I think. 62.6, which means this first jump is going to be pushing the range of the jump of my my FSD drive's capabilities, all but 0.3 light years. So I will take leave of you guys now, and I shall return when I am probably about a jump away from the actual Dumbbell Nebula, and then we can go into it and explore it together, at least for those who haven't been there before. So I will see you when we are knocking on the door of the Dumbbell Nebula. And we have arrived in the dumbbell sector. As you can see, we have one more jump to go before we reach BD plus 22 3878, and that is the Dumbbell Nebula itself. So let's just zoom in here, and you can see it's not a big nebula, but nevertheless I'm hoping it's going to provide us with some good views. And on a galactic scale, it's not too far from home, really. As I said, it's 1,100 light years from my home base, so I think I'm looking at around 16, 17 jumps in my Anaconda. So here it is, and it's small. In fact, there's another nebula to the northwest. There's that one there. Now that looks like Veil Nebula West. Could it really be? This is if you haven't been here, this is a nebula you should visit. Unfortunately, there are no stars with, no systems with landable planets inside the nebula, but you can skirt around the outside. So if we just pick one of those outside ones, it is Veil Nebula West. Oh God, yeah, that was well spotted from me, I think. I should know what this one is because I've been to Veil West, so I should know what this one is. But off the top of my head, I really don't know. Okay, so I don't know whether we'll be able to plot our way back, but I have the dumbbell system bookmarked, so it's not a problem. Okay, let's make the jump. And it's a Class A blue-white star. I'm hoping there's a landable planet in this tiny little nebula, because that will make for some amazing views, I think. It always does. But the trick, of course, is to land on the dark side of the planet, not the light side, because you need the local star's light to be blocked out. Therefore, the only light that's present is that of the nebula itself. So here is the blue-white star. 10 objects. That gives us a good chance of a landable planet. Anybody who's been here already will already know whether there is or not. I've just got my fingers crossed. Although I'm not superstitious, but it's just a habit. Oh yes, very cool. So I don't know whether it's advantageous, there's an Earth-like by the looks of it, or a water world. I don't know whether it's advantageous to go to the furthest planet away, but it's not that far away anyway. So and besides, this looks a little bit more interesting than this one. Oops, it's a habit of doing that, but let's select that. Okay, I don't need to scoop anything from this. So I'm now going to turn off orbit lines, which I decided halfway through this trip to stick them on so that I could fuel scoop a little bit more safely. And I wonder what riches of materials we can find on this planet. I think one of my main reasons for going exploring is because I do have an interest in all things cosmosy and universey and stuff like that, and nebulas make for some amazing vistas. And you know, for all of its faults, Elite Dangerous does have a very good galaxy, let's put it that way, with some amazing science attached. I mean, it's probably not all, I mean, it definitely isn't all factually accurate on, but you know, every planet has an orbit, every planet can spin on its own axis at a certain rate. It has its own day-night cycles. I mean, it's stuff like that which keeps me playing this. So anyway, we're inside the Dumbbell Nebula. You can basically see the nebula there, the nebula cloud, but of course it's being polluted so much by the light from the local star and any other surrounding stars that may be here. But in this particular system, in this particular nebula, there's only the one star, and we need to block that off. So the way we're going to do that is to visit the dark side of the planet, and you will see, look at that's a nice view just from there. Let me see if I can stop this ship and just take a quick look outside. I mean, we're still seeing the light pollution from the star, if you want. I call it light pollution, but already we're getting a really nice shot there. And you'll begin to see the nebula just literally light up the moment we get into the shadow area of this planet. So get ready for this. It's going to light up pretty bright. The moment we block off the light from the star properly, then you'll see it should start to brighten up, and there we go. The color of the planet is even tinted by it, and I think you can definitely see how much the nebula, and this is why you land on the dark side. You will not get this brightness on the bright side because you've got, again, you're carrying too much light from the star and you're not going to see this. So if you're nebula visiting and you do come across a system that has a landable planet, stick to the dark side. If you're a Star Wars fan, probably do the opposite. So take a note of the gravity as well as you're gliding in, 0.34. That's always important to know, so you can adjust your descent rate and speed. But 0.3 means it's just a smidgen over a third that of planet Earth. And I'm just going to bring it in really, really calmly. We're now 2.4 kilometers above the surface. And once we get under 500 meters, we will deploy the landing gear, and then we'll be able to see the terrain beneath us and look for a parking space. Which sounds like it might be easy to do, but sometimes it can be a little bit tricky, especially if the surface is not that flat. Okay, so we need to start backing off the throttle now. I'm going to deploy the undercarriage and just slow down my my speed and my rate of descent. So I have the red dot floating on the ground there on the sensor, and the moment that turns blue, it means we get a parking space. But I'm going to have to slow the ship down quite considerably. I'm going to drop it just a little and just back up onto this smooth bit and see if we get something there. Now the Anaconda is a fairly big ship, but in terms of being an exploration ship, that's not really its primary goal. I suppose I would class it as a multi-purpose ship. But it happens to be a damn good exploration ship, because you can fit it with lots of stuff, and it's capable of getting a very good jump range. This one, 62. I did get a very good roll from the engineers to achieve that. But you know, that's a hell of a jump range, to know that you can be jumping 60 light years every time you jump. Well, we did get a blue earlier on, but I think it was too small a window. I'm trying to stick to... Ah, here we go. You don't want to be going too fast either, because you might just jump over a spot and then you'll probably miss it. Okay. I don't know where exactly it was, but we did get a blue. But I was going... There we go. I was going too fast. So the alignment is okay. We're already flat. So we'll just start bringing this ship down. Landing gear is out. We've got a little bit of bumpy terrain around us, but not a big deal. And we're down. So let's have a look outside from where we are on the ground. And let's take a look up. Well, the colors are good. I do like this blue. That's a really nice blue. In fact, and look at that, we've got another little moon or a planet there. That's probably about as close to an Earth sky as you're going to get. Seriously nice view. And even though I have the golden livery on this ship, it's not really showing. I guess it's not having a chance to do that because I am on the dark side, and the only light source for me, really, I mean, there's probably some bleed over from the star, but it's going to be negligible, and most of the light we're getting from the nebula. So let's launch the Scarab. I just need to plug in my controller and then hope it all works. Alright, so let's deploy and we'll have a little wander around. Okay, here we go. So here's that bumpy terrain that we were seeing on the sensors as we were landing. Okay, let's just... I think I've probably lost sight of my ship, have I? No, it's there. Right, let's take a look outside from the SRV. Which, for those who don't know, SRV is the Surface Roving Vehicle, and that's a nice shot. That's a great shot. Ship, SRV, a little moon in the background, and the Dumbbell Nebula surrounding everything. It's really, really nice. So if you're starting out exploring and you want a place to come to, then why not start with the Dumbbell Nebula? It's not far away. It's 1,000 light years, just over, and you know you've got 3 landable planets here, so you can take your pick from any of those, and you're going to pick up some fabulous views, which means good screenshots. I do like those shades of blue. I really do. It's a nice looking nebula. In fact, it wouldn't be out of my style, shall we say, out of my don't know. I know what I want to say. Out of my, it wouldn't be out of character. There you go. It wouldn't be out of character for me to screenshot that and then use it as my Windows wallpaper. But having said that, I'm probably breaking with immersion from the game. Let's go back into the rover. Sometimes you can get planets you'll land on in nebulas, and you're going to have like another planet next to you. What is that? You can have another planet next to you, and what is this? I don't know what this is. You're going to have another planet next to you, and it's going to be ringed. What on earth is this? Okay. I've not seen this before. Is it here on this view? No. This is not in the beta. This is in 2.3. It's not there. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's gone. Okay. No, it hasn't. I don't know what that is. That is weird. Yeah, definitely weird. Okay, let's go past it and have a spin round and see if it's still there. Is this meant to be the... I mean, I've never seen this before. It's obviously the triangle that surrounds, the green triangle that surrounds where your ship is, but I've never seen this before. This is all new to me. Why is this here? Because my ship's selected, obviously. When you select it, I've never noticed that before. That selecting your ship brings up these holographic... I know you see them, but I've never actually physically seen that before. And there is the front one. I'm still looking up. There's the front one on the ground there. Okay. So let's have a look over this hill. I'm not particularly looking for resources, but I'm going to take a look. It's quite a nice surface here as well. It's not too bad really. So let's just take one more look out. And other regions I would advise to go to. The one we just looked at when we were out in Super Cruise earlier, which is the Dumbbell Nebula West, because it's different. There's no other nebula quite like that one. And if you can land on the dark side of a planet close by to the nebula, just outside, there are a couple of systems that will allow you to do that. You can get some really, really nice views. But of course, the dark side of the planet is better when it's kind of facing the nebula. But definitely go there. If you are tempted to go a little bit further out, say 8,000 light years, then I would definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, tell you to go to the Dumbbell Nebula. There are systems with landable planets there. There is one that I went to that had a very close by secondary planet next to it, and it was, I mean, you can see this one here, but the other one was big. I mean, it was right, like I could reach out and touch it. It was that big. And the Dumbbell Nebula is very purple, like a lavender color, like what you would see in the center of this patch here, but only a bit brighter, I would say. But it's pretty spectacular, especially if you land on a planet that's got a very nicely detailed surface. And the surfaces of these planets have been, or moons or whatever you want to call them, have been increased in detail since I was at the Dumbbell Nebula. So I am very keen on going back again. And if I was to go, it would be in the Anaconda, because it'll get me there quicker. And I'm dying to see how it looks with the new terrains that have come in. I think this was in 2.3 that we got these new, more detailed procedural terrains. I mean, it really has, it made a massive difference to what we used to have. And of course, tire tracks, which we didn't have on the SRVs when I was at the Dumbbell Nebula. So that brings us to the end of this video. And I'm going to say goodbye. But as we leave the Dumbbell Nebula, I'm going to hand things over to Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Just something I found, and I thought you guys should hear it. And if you've heard of Carl Sagan, or you know Carl Sagan, you'll know already one of his famous quotes, "We are made of star stuff." That being, of course, that the stuff from early exploded stars is what gave life to everything on Earth, and those elements are within us. So therefore, not only is the universe a part of us, but we are part of the universe. And as Carl Sagan so eloquently put it, we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. And Neil deGrasse Tyson gave a similar quote along those lines about the stars, and I'm just going to play that to you as we leave the Dumbbell Nebula. So take care, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.
What is the most astounding fact you can share with us about the universe?
The most astounding fact
The most astounding fact.
is the knowledge that the atoms that comprise life on Earth, the atoms that make up the human body, are traceable to the crucibles that cooked light elements into heavy elements in their core. under extreme temperatures and pressures. These stars, the high-mass ones among them, when unstable in their later years, they collapsed and then exploded, scattering their enriched guts across the galaxy. Guts made of carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and all the fundamental ingredients of life itself. These ingredients become part of gas clouds that condense, collapse, form the next generation of solar systems, stars with orbiting planets. And those planets now have the ingredients for life itself. So that when I look up at the night sky, and I know that, yes, we are part of this universe, we are in this universe, but perhaps more important than both of those facts is that the universe is in us. When I reflect on that fact, I look up. Many people feel small because they're small and the universe is big, but I feel big because my atoms came from those stars. There's a level of connectivity. That's really what you want in life. You want to feel connected. You want to feel relevant. You want to feel like you're a participant in the goings-on of activities and events around you. That's precisely what we are, just by being alive.